Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Port Angeles, on another beautiful Thursday evening in December. It's almost that time. We are gathering together all of the energies and the forces. We're moving into that darkness, getting ready to go into the time of light. But this is the time where we're sort of coming into the darkness, as evidenced by what's out our windows. So we're going to start with our opening song, which I invite you to sing with us if you choose. God is all there is, and I am one with God. We'll go through it 4 times, so you'll get the feel for it. It's pretty simple. I invite you to just breathe it in as you're singing it. And if the word God doesn't speak to you, substitute spirit or love or peace or something that feels good for you. All right? Here we go. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. My heart is open to the full expression of this life living me. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. My heart is open to the full expression of this life living me. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. My heart is open to the full expression of this life living me. God is all there is, and I am one with God. Last time. God is all there is, and I am one with God. God is all there is, and I am one with God. My heart is open to the full expression of this life living me. God is all there is, and I am one with God is. I am, and so it is. Take a breath. Just allow the vibration of the music to infiltrate your body. It's a powerful vibration, music.
It was like somebody was writing me. I wasn't writing the song, it was writing me, and so this is the one I want to share with you. It's called Though I Walk With You. Though I walk with you through the valley of the shadow When you walk with me, you prepare rest and table before my enemies, and anoint my head with your oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness, surely your goodness and your mercy will follow all my days, for thou art with me. Though I walk with you, though you walk with me, when you walk with me. Yeah.
Thank you, Heather. That was beautiful. She's a great gift to me and to us. To me because I love to sing harmony. And her songs seem to lend themselves to that. So my talk title tonight is a little unusual, and it was inspired by our friend Larry, who was wandering the beach one day last week, and he came home with a gift. He said, I have a gift for you, and you need to do a talk out of this. And I said, I will. And here's the gift.
Wow.
This beautiful heart-shaped rock. I'm going to actually bring it close to the camera so everybody can see it. You good? Thank you. Because it's hard to see from far away, but there are little barnacles on this heart. Little leftover remnants, calcified bits that just spoke to us. Spoke to Larry, obviously, and definitely spoke to me when he brought it. I love the feel of this rock in my hand, and I love what it kind of triggered within me for tonight's talk. So tonight's talk is called Heart Barnacles. And it's the idea that, do you have heart barnacles? I think we all have heart barnacles at some point. They're crustaceans that have formed over years, maybe decades of pain, betrayal, loss, just everyday life, that there's these calcified bits that for some of us become a whole carapace, a whole shell that encompasses our heart so that we can feel safe. We get this illusion of safety when we protect our heart. And then possibly through some coincidental moments or encounters with some people that are a little different, have a little opening idea, we begin to chip away brick by brick, bit by bit, these calcified parts that have been protecting us. They thought they were keeping us safe, but really they're keeping us separate. They're keeping us separate from each other and definitely separate from our own self, our own divine nature. And so we get to choose about whether we're going to chip them off and how that might look. It doesn't have to be painful. I really feel that they place a barrier between us and others, and definitely us and ourselves. They may be old beliefs or ideas about who we are or how the world is. And these are probably messages that we picked up from the time we were 1, 2, maybe 3 years old. They're not generally things we picked up when we're older. Those things that happened later reinforced or gave evidence and proof of these old ideas that we picked up somewhere when we were very small, when we had no real concepts, but something happened and a part of us that didn't understand what it was established some meaning about it. This is who I am. This is how the world is. This is how I need to be to maneuver in the world. And that keeps us separate. In The Science of My Textbook, I found a really lovely quote that felt like it related to this. It talks about the power at the heart of God. Ernest Holmes says, peace is the power at the heart of God. It is through the revelation of the self, to the self, that one understands life. The revelation of the, I call it the capital S self, the truth about who we really are, the truth beyond the masks we wear, beyond the false ideas we've carried for a lot of our life, the real us, the capital T truth, the capital S self of who we are. So it is through the revelation of the capital S self to the small self that one begins to understand life, that we approach the power which is at the heart of God. This comes through a recognition of the unity of the individual. In our philosophy, we talk about that there is only one thing going on, God, period, end of sentence. But we are all individualizations of that one power and that one presence. We are individualized expressions. Everything is an individualized expression of this powerful presence. This comes through a recognition of the unity of the individual with the Spirit, back of, in, and through all. That's exactly what Catherine spoke about when she said, I felt like the song was writing me. That we've all had these moments where something comes through us and our ego is completely out of the way. For whatever reason, we have these glimpses and these moments of opening to something bigger than ourselves, whatever we choose to call it. Peace, love, whatever dynamic we want to call it. It comes through us, back and through us. We also have an expression that Ernest Holmes talks about, that principle, life principles, like gravity, principle is not bound by precedent. So what can happen is not bound, connected to, or limited to what has been. I know for me, and I'm guessing for most of us, that sometimes we think, oh, I'd love to do this, but it's never worked before. Or I'd love to do this, but it's never turned out the way I wanted it to. Or I'd really like life to be this way, but. But all these past facts would say something otherwise than I can do this thing that I want to do, or this experience I want to feel. We are not tied to our past. Principle is never bound by precedent, by what came before. Never. Otherwise, nothing new would ever be created, right? The Big Bang would have happened and that would be it. There would be nothing new if that's all there ever was. I've been really inspired by a book that a friend of mine just told me about last week, and I'm very determined that I'm going to do a class on this book. You have to be willing to put up with a little bit of language, which I have no problem with, but to read this book comfortably, you have to be willing to kind of look past that if that's an issue for you. Most people, it's probably not. But this book is called You Are a Badass. And that's not the worst word she uses. But I love this book because I felt like for years there's a book that's wanting to happen through me, and she seems to have written that book. So now I don't have to do it. I talk about things like there's a God idea and a good idea. Good ideas are all those things that, oh, I should do this, I should do that. But they're maybe not ours to do. God ideas are the ones that keep putting that foot in the middle of our back, that keep pulling us forward, regardless of any time we're going, no, slow down, I shouldn't be, no, but I'm supposed to. That's a God idea. If you keep pushing towards it, regardless of any blocks, regardless of what anybody says, that's a crazy idea, don't do that, that's a God idea. So this might have been a good idea for me to write a book, but she did it, so now I don't have to. Awesome, the book has been written. So I'm going to quote a little bit from this book tonight because she just hits it spot on for me, and I hope for you too. She says in this book, I can pretty much guarantee that every time you tearfully ask yourself the question, what the F is my problem? The answer lies in some lame, limiting, and false subconscious belief you've been dragging around without even realizing it. She talks a lot about the conscious and the subconscious mind. Years and years ago, my mom, a beautiful minister of this philosophy, did a lot of inner child workshops, and I helped a lot with those workshops when we were in St. Louis. And she had this great metaphor. Picture, if you will, a giant 20-pound stinky bag of garbage over my shoulder. This is the garbage of my past beliefs, my past circumstances, things that happened to me, and I'm carrying it around with me everywhere I go, and I can't quite figure out why my life isn't coming out the way I want it to be. Oh, I'd really love to have a loving relationship, but I'm carrying around a stinky bag of garbage. Who wants to be in a relationship with that? Oh, I really want to have this great job, well, I'm carrying around a stinky bag of garbage of I'm not worth anything. So I'm not going to get the job that I really want, or I might get it and then lose it. So we have to be willing to drop the stinky bag of garbage. Say thank you for however it is you served me in my life, and I'm going to move forward now. I don't need to keep dragging it around with me. I've had visions sometimes. I had a vision at one point of little colored beings. They look like little flying angels. They're stick figures, and it's something I keep drawing all the time when I draw. And they were all little different colors. And they were flying around and dancing in amongst each other. And off in the corner was a little gray one. And it was all tucked up into a little ball. And it was like, I'm not going to play. I've been a drama teacher for 25 or so years. I know full well when I walk into a classroom, I've done in public schools most of my life, that there's always that kid. There's always that kid who's like, I'm not going to have fun. I'm not going to play. Go ahead and make me have a good time. And I know full well, if I try to drag them into the game, whatever it is we're doing, they're going to dig their heels in. Just like that little gray thing in my corner, my picture. We're having fun, we're dancing. So I say to those kids, you don't have to do anything. You can just sit there. You can't mess up the game, though. Sometimes they want to try to mess up the game. So I say, you don't have to participate. Absolutely not. And at any time, if you want to jump in, you just jump in. And then I ignore them. Not like in a mean way, but I just let them be. I let them be however they need to be. And we go off and we start having fun. And pretty soon, they start edging in, and they're creeping in. And to me, this is like our past. It serves something. And we don't want to shove it away. We don't want to say, get out of my life, you stinky thing. You can do whatever it is you want to do. Thank you for however it is you served me in the past. But you don't get to come in and mess up the game. That's all. But you don't have to participate. But I'm going to do this now. And we go on our merry way. To have barnacle removal. We have a barnacle removal system. Larry said you should do a little promo video about your talk tonight. Do you have barnacles on your heart? We have something that can help that. I can definitely see that. The first thing I want to talk about is to become your biggest fan. To start chipping away at those barnacles on our heart. We are never a worse critic than of ourselves. Never. So we get to become the opposite. We get to use the same energy and intention with which we've been degrading ourselves all these years, saying that we're not worthy or not good enough or too much of this or too little of that. We get to switch that and become our own biggest fan. She talks about that in here. I'm barely into this book, and I've just got tons of things I love about it. She says, try seeing yourself through the eyes of someone who admires you. They get it. They believe in you leaps and bounds. They aren't connected to your insecurities and negative beliefs about yourself. All they see is your true glory and potential. Become one of your own diehard fans. Look at yourself from the outside, where all your self-doubts can't crawl all over you, and behold what shines through. Behold what shines through when you stop letting your doubts crawl all over you. You know someone who loves you. I'm sure we all have someone here who just loves us, even if it's someone who's not here anymore. I used to remember my mom's always loved me and my dad's always loved me, and I've always felt very loved. I'm very blessed in that way. And often when I would do a visualization of someone who really loves me, one of my grandmas would come in front of me. My grandmas, who just love me so much, so unconditionally, and I could picture their hand on my cheek. So close your eyes for just a minute. Just be willing to try this experiment. Close your eyes. And picture someone who just loves you. They know everything about you, all your faults, all your mess-ups, and they don't give a hoot about that. They just love you. They see how awesome you are. They see how mighty you are, how beautiful you are. They don't care how you look or what you do. They just love you. And if you can, pop yourself out of your body and imagine you are standing in front of yourself. See yourself through their eyes. Look at how shiny you are. Look at the radiance that comes out from you. See yourself through the eyes of someone who loves you. And make yourself your own biggest fan. Take a breath. Come back. So that's one way to begin chipping away. It's just make a commitment. I'm going to be my biggest fan. That doesn't mean we're braggadocious or that we're going to be too egotistical or any of that stuff. That's not what it means. We can say, I'm awesome. We can claim our amazing ability of just because we are. She talks about that a lot. The other thing that we can do to chip away at those barnacles is to surround ourselves with those who see who we really are instead of those who don't. If we've got people in our life who are constantly telling us that we're not and that we can't, we get to choose to release them lovingly. We don't have to push them out of our life. We just continue to claim our awesomeness, and we will notice they will begin to gently let go. We're not going to play that game anymore. A friend of mine years ago used to say, let the needy fall away. She noticed she had a lot of needy people in her life, and she recognized she had drawn them to her because she liked to be needed. But she had grown. She had come to a place where she didn't want to be surrounded by needy people anymore. So she just gently would say in her meditations, let the needy fall away. And pretty soon, less and less of those people started hanging out with her. She also stopped doing the codependent behavior that kept them around, but not in a negative way or a harsh way, in a gentle and loving way. Excuse me. So, become your biggest fan, surround yourself with people who see who you really are. And this is super important. Pay attention to what and who you listen to. She says, and I fully believe this, awareness is our key to freedom. When we start listening to our own inner dialogue, when we notice our self-talk, if we were to record ourselves every day, we would be shocked, I think many of us, by the negative talk that we say about ourselves. My beautiful bonus daughter, I was trying on some clothes, she was helping me make decisions about some stuff to let go of, and I said something about, pardon the expression, my boobs are too big for this top. And she said, no, this top is too small for your boobs. Look at the difference. It's such a simple, subtle thing. One is that I'm saying I'm wrong. I'm not okay. And the other is, no, it's this top. And the top doesn't care, right? So it's a subtle thing. Pay attention to who and what we listen to. I noticed I used to love to watch a lot of what I would call dark TV shows. Dark and cynical shows. There's a part of me that loves that stuff. And after a while, I noticed I was just watching less. I didn't make a major commitment about it. I just noticed that stuff didn't pull me in the same way. that I would rather watch something that lifts me a little more and that doesn't kind of dive into the darkness of life. I still like it occasionally. There's certain things I love to watch. And it feeds that, part of me. But I also don't, like that little gray person, I don't let that part of me run the show anymore. She talks about this great analogy about painting the porch versus dead skunk removal, and I'm going to explain that. She says that part of our challenge is, let me get to this page because I really, really liked it. There it is. She said, the first key to ridding yourself of limiting subconscious beliefs is to become aware of them. Because until you're aware of what's really going on, you'll keep working with your conscious mind to solve a problem that's buried far beneath it in your subconscious, which is an exercise in futility. Like, we keep taking action on something, but if we don't clean up what's in our subconscious, that action will be futile. It's like people who win the lottery and then a year or two later they lose it all because they may not have a belief in their own abundance, their own worthiness for that money. We've heard story after story about that. So she talks about it's sort of like not being able to enjoy sitting on your front porch anymore because it totally reeks of something foul out there. You can come up with all these brilliant ways to deal with the problem, light incense, set up fans, blame it on the dog, but until you realize that something has crawled under your house and died, your problem will linger on, stinking up your life. So you think you need to paint the porch, and really you just need to get rid of the dead skunk that's underneath it. But we try to cover up. We try to, I'll just fix this surface thing. When I lose the weight, when I pay my bills, when I meet this person, when I get the job. But we got to work with what's under all that first. The rest then naturally becomes attracted to us as we begin to lighten up around who we are. So become your biggest fan. Surround yourself with those people who see who you really are, and begin to pay attention to your subconscious dialogue, those beliefs that are running your show when you don't even know it. And that takes some willingness to dive deep. And that's not always comfortable. And so it's really good to have supportive community around you, whether it's a spiritual community or a social community or whatever. But again, surrounding yourself with those people that even when you're in the middle of your mess, when you're dredging up all that uncomfortable stuff, to look at it finally in the face, that they can continue to see who you really are, even when you're in the muck. For me, that has been vital. Absolutely vital. When I'm down in the dregs, mucking around in all my stew, it's really important and helpful for me to have those people that say, I see you. I see who you really are. Keep going. That is not who you are. That does not define you. Let it go. Drop that stinky garbage bag. One more quote. Maybe two. This is what Clancy read in the earlier part of our evening. The heart is the center of divine love and perfect circulation. That circulation is the flow of life, the in and the out, the receiving and the giving. Perfect circulation. The heart has that. Comes in, it goes out. When it doesn't, that's when we have some challenges, right? Its action is harmonious, vital, adequate, and complete. There is no false action and no wrong action. The pulsations of life are steady, unceasing, and perfect. Let not your heart be troubled. Love is at the center of man's being, of people's being. And the calm, continuous pulsations of life are governed by love. Ernest Holmes is a very wise man. He knew that the divine love is that constancy that we all carry within us. So I'm going to invite us into a brief meditation at the very end of my talk. So I invite you to close your eyes. And this is the universe talking to you. This is how I ended up with this book. My friend read this to me over the phone. I said, I'm buying this book. You are a badass. You were one when you came screaming onto this planet, and you are one now. The universe wouldn't have bothered with you otherwise. You can't screw up so majorly that your badassery disappears. It is who you are. It's who you always will be. It's not up for negotiation. You are loved, massive, ferociously, unconditionally. The universe is totally freaking out about how awesome you are. It's got you wrapped in a warm gorilla hug of adoration. It wants to give you everything you desire. It wants you to be happy. It wants you to see what it sees in you. You are perfect. To think anything less is as pointless as a river thinking that it's got too many curves, or that it moves too slowly, or that its rapids are too rapid. Says who? You're on a journey with no defined beginning, middle, or end. There are no wrong twists and turns. There is just being. And your job is to be as you can be. This is why you're here. To shy away from who you truly are would leave the world you-less. You are the only you there ever is and ever will be. I repeat, you are the only you there ever is and ever will be. Do not deny the world its one and only chance to bask in your brilliance. We are all perfect in our own magnificent, effed up ways. Laugh at yourself. Love yourself and others. Rejoice in the cosmic ridiculousness. Rejoice in the cosmic ridiculousness. It's ridiculous that we're even here, that we even exist, and yet we do. Take a breath. Your mantra for this week, I'm a badass. And say it like you mean it. So take a breath. This is our time for conscious giving. We consciously give as we consciously receive. This center is a place of flow. Everything that comes into us we use as good stewards, and we give forth every month. 5% of our conscious giving comes and goes to our home office because they give us a lot of support, and 5% goes to local community organizations, nonprofits, that do good work here in the community. So if you know of a local nonprofit that you think could benefit from a tithe from us, then let us know what that is, and then we will put that on our Wisdom Council meeting, and we'll put them on the calendar. So we have a conscious giving prayer in our program. If you're choosing to give today through something that looks like money, we love that. If you're giving your time, talent, or treasure, that's good too. Even if you just put energy in the basket, that is enough. So we'll pass this basket around, and before we do, I'm going to invite you to put whatever it is you're giving today on your heart, even if it's just your presence here. And if you choose, I invite us to say this together. I am open to give. I am open to receive. I am grateful to be in the flow of life, through and as me. Thank you. I'm going to let Catherine come back up, and we will do our closing song together. This is a beautiful song that she wrote, Home, Great Spirit.